Hi, Susan. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're so welcome. I'm so
Really
excited
appreciate it.
to learn more about you too. I was excited to learn about it's Mommy High Five, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit. I know maybe this is backwards. Maybe you usually start first, but I was just so curious. Tell me a little bit more about Mommy High Five before we get
Okay.
started.
Well, basically, we are trying to be a resource to help parents make things easier. Um, and as a mom, I know it's hard to juggle everything. And I feel like a lot of times moms are not appreciated or noticed for what they're doing. So we're trying to highlight some moms who are doing amazing things and just trying to help make parenting a little bit easier as much as we can. So that's our mission.
I love that. That falls right along with our mission at the Mom Summit because we also believe that moms are unappreciated and they should be recognized because we have the most important job in the world.
Absolutely.
So I love that.
Yes.
That's really cool. That's
Well,
neat.
I was so excited to be invited to I Am Mom Summit and I learned so
Right.
many things and I was really impressed by what you're doing there. So I'm
Okay.
very thankful that you are willing to do this. And I know it's the busiest time of year. So thank
No, I'm happy to. I'm usually on your end asking people to speak, and I've always made this personal goal that if anyone reaches out to me and I love the organization, I will always say yes because I know how it is being on the other end. I get it. So I'm like, yes, I would love to do this. Anything that helps moms, I'm in. So
Well, thank you.
you're so welcome.
Can we dive into some questions?
Do it.
Great. Tell me a little bit about your family and your background and
Okay. I know this is a fun question. So my husband and I, let's see, we've been married for almost 20 years. I can't believe it. But we met country dancing in Salt Lake City. I am a dancer. My husband is not. And he was standing on the side dressed up as a cowboy. I thought he was a cowboy. He was a cute cowboy. And he asked me to dance the very last song, which happened to be my favorite song, She's My Kind of Rain by Tim McGraw. This was back in the day. And we danced, we met, and realized we were both at the same university. And so we had a test coming up and I genuinely wanted to study for the test. And so I'm like, let's get together and let's study. And it happened to be Valentine's Day the next day. And we got together, we sat at a table, and I kid you not, we did not study. We just hit it off right away. We both had Valentine's dates that night and we hung out with each other till the very last possible second. Went on our dates. And of course, I couldn't stop thinking about him. And then from that day on, we've been together like ever since. It just wasn't, we dated for about a year, we got married, and we have 5 kids. We've lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico. My husband used to work for Red Bull, and we lived in North Carolina for a while, and now we're back in Utah where we're by family and friends, which is nice. And we have a 13-year-old son, and then 11-year-old girl, 8-year-old girl, 6-year-old girl, and then our youngest is Tony, and he is 2 years old. So,
wow, that sounds busy.
I'm like, yes, it is busy, but so much fun. So that's kind of our family. Let's see, what else did you ask me? That's kind of how we started. We love. I was just thinking about the questions you sent me. We love to just spend time together. I was thinking about it. We have a motto. We do this family cheer every night, and part of it says, "Work hard, play hard." And that's true. My kids, I don't know if they love it to work hard yet. Hopefully they will, but we do like to work hard together as a family. And then we love to spend time playing games, being outside. We love dancing in the kitchen. That's kind of one of our nightly things that we do, actually. And then just our family movie night. That's always been fun too. So that's kind of our family. That's Team Taylor. We go by Team Taylor. So
Great. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of good memories are being made.
yeah, Susan, how many kids do you have?
I have 4.
4. Okay, so yeah, you get it.
Yes, I do.
And what are the ages of your kids?
20,
Okay.
17, and 13, 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to you for advice then, because you are just like that next level above me. That's cool. College kids. Wow, that's another, yeah. Haven't even fathomed how to parent adult children yet. So
It's exciting. It, yeah. There are days I'd rather have toddlers, but it's good most of the time.
that's what people keep telling me. So I'm just trying to enjoy my sleepless nights, for the toddler stage, right? They're with me and I can control everything in their environment, right? So it's harder with the older kids, but
Every stage has its challenges, I think, but
that's true.
it's good. It's good watching them make their own choices and hoping they'll be good choices. But
Yes. Yeah. That's all we can do, right?
yes.
Be doing the best we can.
Tell me about how I Am Mom Summit came to be.
Yes. Okay. So I think you heard a little bit about it at the summit.
Yes.
So I'll get maybe a little more detail, but like I said at the summit, it was like, I think it was 2018 when we started. And my husband was doing virtual events for tech companies, and I was kind of watching him do that. And I had 4 young kids. And just in that phase of my life where just, exhausted, trying to take care of all these kids. And I had just had 10 days of really sick kids. And it was one of those like, man, we just survived that. And my husband was really busy doing a virtual event. So I was by myself, solo parenting for those 10 days. And I
Oh,
remember, and those are just brutal, brutal, brutal. One kid gets it and they all get it. And I think that is probably the time of my life when I was just feeling, really depleted, exhausted. Like I've always wanted to be a mom, but this is really hard. This is really just physically exhausting. And I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, like I said at the summit, and my husband was over there working on his summit. And I said, how come moms don't have this? Like, why do moms not have this? And he was like, let's start it. So that's how it kind of came to be. And it took us a year of figuring out how we would do it. And I just kept telling my husband, this is such an incredible time to be a mom. There's just so many resources, maybe too many at this point. And let's gather them all into one summit and let's make it accessible for moms who are very busy. So let's make it virtual. A lot of us, can't get sitters maybe. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be available to all moms, different backgrounds, situations. And I wanted it to be up for 10 days because moms are extremely busy. And I also wanted the Mom Summit to be something that kind of motivated and empowered moms. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet that kind of can make fun of motherhood or unappreciate it or very negative. And you can get wrapped up in that, I think, the negativity of motherhood if you focus on that. And I wanted it to be something where moms walked away feeling educated, but also like proud to be a mom. Like I do have, like we've talked about the most important job of the world, which is so interesting that it is. And we have yet no formal education to be a mom. At the hospital, they hand you a baby and you're like, oh, here I go. And you're going to be raising the next generation of leaders and stuff. So, but I do think that's part of the beauty of parenting and motherhood is you learn as you go and you grow as a person yourself as a mother. So it is kind of exciting that you can kind of create your own path and not everyone's path is the same. So I do like that. So did that answer your question? I'm trying to think of.
yes. So you started the first summit
Yes.
2019, is that right?
Yeah, so a year later, 2019, we launched our first summit. I think I had 25 speakers, which I was just so shocked. Anyone who would ever say yes to me because we were brand new, they didn't know who we were. They had to trust us. I remember my first speaker saying yes to us, which was so exciting. And I think we got 13,000 people our first summit. And I was just blown away. I never thought that 13,000 people would attend. And we had an 80% attendance rate, which in the virtual world, it's like 30 to 20. It's like unheard of. So this was before virtual events were kind of a thing. It was kind of, we were trailblazing here. But I just couldn't believe the response. And it was just my husband and I ourselves behind the computer doing it all. So it was a lot, a lot of work, but
That sounds really overwhelming to me.
I
So
think it's exciting. I mean, it was overwhelming, but very fulfilling because I think I love education and I love helping people. So it was fulfilling. So
Well, I appreciate that you're doing it. What are some of the challenges that you have overcome, and what changes have you seen as the summit has evolved?
That's a good question too. So the challenges are, as you know, is probably like manpower, trying to do something on this large of a scale. I didn't have any idea it would be this big. I mean, I was looking at my stats right before this interview. I wrote them down. Like total, we've had 58,000 people register for the summit, 121 speakers, 40,000 attendees, which is like a 69% attendance rate. So we quickly realized that we could not do it by ourselves, just the two of us. And I had 4 kids, which we added another one during our summit too. So that was a challenge, is trying to balance parenting, motherhood, and running this summit. So we quickly had to evolve into, I gathered a team. I have 4 women who help me now. We're all volunteers, which is, sometimes you think, why would people do this on their free time instead of watching Netflix? Why would they spend their time, working on the summit? But I feel like we've built a really cool group that we're all passionate about motherhood. And I realized quickly that I didn't know how to do all the parts of this summit. I didn't know, I was unfamiliar with social, on how to grow that, social media. I couldn't manage all the speakers. There was a lot of speakers. I have like 30 speakers, and I could not physically do it myself. So I have an awesome speaker manager now who does that. I have someone who runs social. And I realized quickly that I wasn't good at like selling the summit. I didn't know how to sell it either. So I brought someone in that was helping us pitch it to sponsors and stuff like that. So I realized I could do it myself. I needed help. And I think as moms, sometimes we try to do it all ourselves, right?
Yes, we do.
We try to do it. I don't know if it's a pride thing, but we try to do it all ourselves. And we have to quickly realize that once we let others help us and we acknowledge that, we can do so many greater things.
That's a very good piece of advice. And I think a lot of times we forget that as moms. But
So,
okay, it's okay to ask someone who knows a little bit more, or who's been there.
oh, definitely.
We at least I can speak for myself that I can use all the help I can get.
Me too. Oh, that is so true. Oh, yes.
Tell me what your hopes are moving forward with the summit.
So, our hopes have always been that we could just reach, you know, moms everywhere, all over the world. When it was during COVID and virtual, we could only stay virtual and we could only really connect to people online. There wasn't a lot of connection, I think, outside of just education between our audience. So our next step is, and we were able to do it. The first one, we tried that hybrid event where we had it in person. It was The response was overwhelmingly positive, and moms loved it. People loved it. So our hope and our plans are now is to do that every year now, do a live portion with the online, always keeping it online because, some parents, that's the only way that they can attend, some moms. But we're going to have for sure an in-person part as well. And we are actually working right now with a media company to kind of take it on tour. So that is kind of our hopes and dreams, is not only we're based in Utah, I am in Utah, but my team is outside of Utah. So I have someone in Nashville and in Washington and in Florida and Georgia. So we want to, take it on the road too, so we can reach more moms, which is overwhelming, and that'll be a big feat. So that's kind of our goal. So to take the summit.
Well, that's fantastic. I think a lot of parents would benefit from that.
Yes,
For me, I love the virtual side of it because it can reach so many people. For me, it was really helpful to be there in person where I wasn't distracted by other things that were going on.
yes,
So I think that could be really an amazing thing for a lot of parents who are everywhere.
I think so too. I think it'll be really good. I'm excited about the things that are kind of in the works. We'll see what ends up panning out, but it's exciting. I think what's probably my favorite part of the summit is not only being able to help moms, because I'm very passionate about motherhood, but the relationships with the speakers has been very incredible, and some of their desire to jump in and do projects. And, that's who we're currently working with this past keynote speakers. the East, Sean Johnson and Andrew, we're going back and forth. We're in negotiations right now of what this will look like with the Mom Summit and their involvement. So, and they can take it to a broader audience, which is really cool. So that's been really fun.
Well, good. What are some of the things that you have learned from the summit yourself?
I think I wrote some things down, I think, too, because I was like, oh no, that's for another one. Okay, these are some things that I've learned. Um, you can do hard things. I honestly, as I got started, thought it would be kind of like a little passion project. It would be mainly for my friends and family and myself on, being able to educate ourselves and be better moms because when I became a parent, I quickly realized that I knew nothing. I thought I knew everything. I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and I've always loved children. And I thought I'm going to be the best mom ever. And when I married my husband, I'm like, he's going to be such an incredible dad. This is good. We've got this. And even though I watched my mom parent 6 kids, so I did know that it was going to be, hard and long, but I just thought it would come naturally. And then you can relate to this, I'm sure. As you start your parenting journey, suddenly there's all these things you don't have the answers for. And you have children who come to you that you think, I thought I was really good at sleep training my babies. And then you have a 5th kid that you're like, okay, I need to relearn how to sleep train him. Like, or as they become elementary school and teenagers, you're thinking, oh, I got this. And then every kid is so different. So that's something I've learned by doing the Mom Summit in general was I can continually push myself and learn to do things that I didn't know I knew how to do. I've also learned that I have to have balance because the summit can overtake all of my time. It's very fulfilling to do something outside of just, I think, mothering my own children and helping other people. But there was one year I let it kind of consume me so much that my own daughter, who was 5 at the time, said, "Mom, can you stop helping other moms and can you just be my mom?" And that like broke my heart a little bit because I'm like, you're right. I am trying to help moms, but if I'm not focusing on my own family and helping my own kids, like, why am I doing this? I mean, it's ironic. I was doing a mom summit to be a better mom, but on that one year of doing a mom summit, I wasn't being a very good mom to my kids because I was so distracted and focused on making this mom summit helpful for others. So I've learned through this process that I have to try to, balance my time, with my projects, but also really be there for my kids because that's the most important thing really in the world. Um, but yeah, I think I've learned that's probably the most is putting my family first, but then also it is okay at the same time to do something that I love, that I feel passionate about, because it actually makes me a better mom when I do something that brings me joy and fulfillment. It helps me. So,
So, a question I didn't send you before. What changes have you noticed in yourself
mm.
because of doing this?
Okay, yes, this is a good question too. I've never been asked this one. So, first off, I've I'm definitely more brave. I definitely now am. I used to the very first summit. It would take a lot of courage to even send an email to one speaker. So much courage, and it had to be perfect. And now I have a lot more courage, and I'm not as nervous to pick up the phone even and call someone who I see as a very influential person that can help moms. I'm not as nervous. So I'm a lot more brave, and I've learned that a lot of these people are just like you and I. They're parents too. They're people. That's what I've learned. And I used to spend hours on writing emails, and now my emails, I think I'm very more clear and concise in my emails. I don't take as much time, and I know that people won't read into them as much as I thought I did. So I'm definitely more brave, um, more empathetic, I think, too, to everyone's situations. I've learned there's so many different types of parent, so many different ways of parenting, and I've opened my eyes to like seeing how other people's parents and appreciating how people parent and how they raise their kids and speakers. So many different speakers that I've met and the way that they parent and mother, that's been really eye-opening too. So more empathetic towards other people and more brave. I'm very more what very there's a lot that I want to do, but I have to be very careful how I spend my time. So I think I'm more diligent on how I manage my time. Because people are like, how do you do this? How do you do the mom summit? How do you raise 5 kids? How are you? I also have another job. How do you do it all? And I mean, I can go into that. That's a whole nother question. But I think I've had to be really clear on my time, where I spend my time, where I spend my energy. Is this something that fulfills my goals? Is this helping my family? And I've learned to say no, say no to some things that aren't going to fill that box for me. So
That's fantastic.
go
I
ahead. I'm trying to
all of
make sure
those,
give you some good content. So.
I think all of those are things that moms should learn. And sometimes it takes a lot of years to learn.
Yes.
So I really like that. Your thoughts on the time management, saying no.
And I think overall, I knew this before I started, but overall, just how important motherhood is, it's just even more. I'm learning more and more how important it is and how much impact we have on the world, which can be overwhelming. And you can feel some mom guilt on that, but that's something I've learned through this process too. Like we really do have a great impact. And so, like I said, just trying to always be more intentional, but give myself grace at the same time with my parenting. So,
Another great piece of advice.
okay, good.
I think it's so hard to beat it's easy for us to beat ourselves up about how we're parenting or mistakes that we're making. Um,
100%. Do you feel like that gets easier as as your children get older? Do you feel like you kind of let go of that stuff, or do you feel like that's something that you still struggle with as you have like adult children that you're constantly, you know,
I'm learning to let go more as my kids are becoming more independent,
mhm,
trying to let go of the guilt of decisions that they make that I would have preferred for them to make a different decision, even if it's not a bad decision necessarily, but you know, if I've got a son who's a senior in high school and I think it would be beneficial for his upcoming college experience for him to belong to certain clubs at school. Well, those aren't the ones that he wants to do. And I'm learning I need to just let him make the decision. It's his life. And it's been really hard for me to just kind of let that happen.
mhm.
I'm seeing a lot more growth through him when I'm not.
See, that's so interesting you say that because that's key right there, what you just said. When you kind of notice that and let it go, kind of step back, like you just said, that's where you see your kids really start to thrive. And you're like, okay, I'm going to let it go. They're happy. That's what's most important. But it's hard when you have, like you said, you kind of think that they should do it a different way, but then you see them grow and be happy. And I mean, I don't even have adult children yet, but that's what I see in my teens as they're starting to make choices. I'm like, okay, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let you do that. So,
Yes, something I wish I had learned earlier and allowed myself. I think I would have saved myself a lot of grief and worry. I had just done that earlier,
that is really good advice, actually, what you just said. So that is good.
we have to give ourselves grace, like you said,
Yes,
and
totally.
just move forward with the best that we know how to do.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what life is all about. Trying to do our best and being okay with what we're doing.
Absolutely.
As long as we're trying to.
So, related to that, do you have any examples, if you're comfortable sharing mistakes or successes that you've had with motherhood?
Yes. I think when I read that question was my biggest thing was trying to do it all as a first time, like a mom of young children. I saw everyone around me, right? My friends, my neighbors, then social media came. I got on that. That was when my son was young. And I started to like compare myself to what everyone else was doing. And I thought, oh, I can do everything. I can throw the big parties. My house can look really decorated. I can be the best cook. I can do all these things, but I, it burned me out. I can't do that. I can't do that. There's no way. And I was trying to focus on my weaknesses that I had as a mom. And I was down, like, comparing myself, like, I am actually not a very good cook. That's not one of my talents. I'm not a good decorator. Those two things are probably my biggest weaknesses. And I was trying so hard to be just like those that I saw doing that. I was comparing myself, and it put me, it made me feel bad about myself as a mom, which then ultimately I'm not being a great parent to my kids. So I would say that was my biggest thing, is trying to do it all. And then I'm not quite sure at what point. I wish I had a specific time. I think it might have been when I started doing the Mom Summit, because I started to become so busy with doing this. I didn't have time to do all those things those extra fluffy things. I realized that I need to be okay with who I am as a mom. I need to focus on my strengths and go that way. I'm going to focus on my strengths, what I do best as a mom. And then I need to celebrate the strengths of others instead of comparing myself and wishing I could do that. I learned to look at that friend and say, wow, you are so good to take your kids hiking every Saturday. That is amazing. And your kids are going to grow up to love the outdoors. Instead of feeling bad at myself, like, I should be doing that. I should be doing that every Saturday. I didn't feel bad. Or the friend who makes cakes with her kids. Or I have a girlfriend who she makes fancy dinners like 3 times a week for her kids and puts it on social media. And the old Jamie would look at that and be like, I need to do that. I need to be doing that. But I know that that's not my strength. And I just celebrate for her. And her kids are going to probably grow up doing that and loving that. But mine, I'm a relationship person. I love to read with my kids. That's my strength. We read every night together and we really bond over that. I talk a lot with my kids. And I have some of my girlfriends that say, I don't know how you do that. I don't talk with my kids. So I like to go do stuff. I like to take my kids hiking, right? But I'm like, that's okay. We can all celebrate our differences. So I might be going off topic. I'm going a different direction. But I think my biggest thing was just comparing myself to other moms and what they were doing. And when I let go of that, it was so freeing. It was so freeing to be like, my house can be minimalist. That can be my style because I don't decorate. It can be very simple. And my kids are okay with that. And it doesn't make me a better mom, or less of a mom if I don't do that. But I'm really good at gathering people and my kids, gathering my family together and building relationships and my kids. I feel like that's a strength that I do have as a mom, is my kids can come tell me everything. I really enjoy hanging out with my kids. We have really good relationships. Our parties might not be as pretty, but I have a daughter who has that talent that I'm seeing. I'm like, sweet, I'm going to delegate that to you. I don't know where she got it from because she didn't get it from me. I think my husband, but so that's something that, yeah, I think I wish I would have let go of that sooner, but I think we have to learn as moms kind of when to do that. So.
I think that's fantastic. I think as women, naturally, we tend to want to try to do everything, and then we tend to compare ourselves and
Yes.
wonder why we can't measure up in every single category, and we don't see everyone else's weaknesses. We're just focused on their strengths and on our weaknesses.
I love that. Yep. That's exactly how I feel. So that is great.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that insight. I think that's something, no matter how old of a mother we are,
Mm-hmm.
that's something to remember.
Definitely.
Celebrating
Yes.
each other's strengths, for sure.
For sure.
How is parenting different from what you thought? We've talked a little bit about this, but
Yeah, I think what I kind of mentioned earlier is I thought it was just going to come naturally, be really easy. And I quickly learned that there are some things in motherhood that I felt are very important, such as my kids' emotional well-being, and all my kids are very different, that I did need to quickly educate myself. So that's something I didn't realize how much learning it would take. And that's probably why we started the Mom Summit, really, is because there was a lot of learning and education involved in motherhood, and I do enjoy it. I do love learning, so which is good that I love that. So I asked my husband too, and he said the same thing. He was like, I thought it would just be so easy. Our kids would sleep well, and we would know how to talk to our kids about hard topics, right? And it would just come, but we're finding ourselves reading lots of books, listening to lots of podcasts, talking with our speakers that we get, so just always trying to educate ourselves. So I didn't realize how much and probably how tired you would be, right?
Absolutely.
Constantly
Yes.
around the clock. Will we ever not feel tired? I don't know.
um, the Zoom is telling me we have 10 minutes. So,
Okay.
um, let's see. We've talked a little bit about advice. Do you have any other advice besides what you've already discussed?
Mm, I think my only other advice, and it kind of goes back to what I've learned is, against the comparison thing, but it's just to know that you are enough. You are enough. That's what I hope that moms feel when they leave our summits, that you are the mom for your kids. And that's what makes our world so interesting and fun is we're all different. If we were all the same, right, it would be a very boring world. So each of us as a mom, as a motherhood, we come with our own innate like gifts and talents. And that's what we're going to provide to our specific family. And our kids will grow up with different talents and, you know, needs too than other kids. But that's what makes our world so exciting and so fun is we're all different and we all have different strengths. So I think that in motherhood, it's so easily to have the mom guilt and to feel down and compare yourself. But to really, I would just focus on, once I start focusing on my strengths, like I love to gather people. That's the summit, right? I gather people. I love relationships. I love working with people. Once I started focusing on that and really trying to gather my children and focusing on our emotional relationships, I started thriving as a mom. And I had to just let go that, like, I am not the best cook. I'm letting that go. I still try really hard to make healthy, nutritious meals for my family. And my husband helps me with that, but I let it go. It's not going to be beautiful every day. I just let it go. And I let it go that I don't, like I said, there's different parts of my motherhood that I lack and I've let those go. And that's my piece of advice. And if anyone is struggling, which we all do at times, to kind of find your people, find your mom mentor. I love that. Like someone like you. Like I always look for people who are in a stage older than me and pick their brain. What are you doing? And know that they're always like, oh, that's normal. Your kid does that. Oh, you're not a bad mom. That is 100% normal. Your kid's going to throw a tantrum over that. Or your kid said that to you. Yep, my kid has said that to me before. It just makes you feel better. So, so first off, I guess you are enough. Don't compare yourself, and then kind of find your either your mom mentor or like your tribe, like group of women friends, or in your community, or online, or wherever, to kind of relate and to help them build you up. And I always, I guess, but I do make sure that I try to surround myself with people who will build me up. Like I said, there's a lot of negativity about motherhood. We try to focus on people who will lift me up rather than bring me down and, make me feel bad about motherhood. So,
Great. What would you say to moms who have an idea they're passionate about, but are worried about getting?
yes. So I actually had an interview recently on this one, and I came up with 4 things actually that after the interview, I was like, wow, I just rambled. So I was like, what are my things I would tell people? And I wrote it out. I'm like, okay, yeah, these are my things. And my first thing is like, if you're passionate about something, but you're nervous to do it, figure out your why. Why are you doing it? Find out your why. My why is I'm helping moms. When I feel overwhelmed, which is a lot with this project and event, and you can do that too. Sometimes you're like, why am I doing this? I find my why. I do it to help moms, right? Help moms. Then find people who are going to help you, because if you tell someone, a friend or your husband, your spouse, or someone, or your kids, I actually want to do this, they're going to cheer you on and they're going to help you take that scary first step. Because if you're doing it by yourself, it's not going to happen. You have to find someone else to help you do it. So find your why, find your people, and then find out what's holding you back. Like, what is it? You have to find out that very specific thing. At first I'm like, no one will attend my event. That's what was holding me back. No one's going to come. And then my husband was like, well, who cares? Like, let's do it. And like, we'll just learn, right? Let's do it. So you have to find out what it is. I always write out a list, write out what's holding me back. And then I look at that list and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go tackle this on my list. So look, and then go look for that help. Go find people who can help you on that. So find out what's holding you back, look for help. And then lastly, my biggest thing is be yourself. There are so many things out there and passion projects that people have that you can get caught up in trying to be like them, but that's not going to make you successful. You have to pick be authentic. Like, what drives you, what's exciting to you, and stick to it. Kind of, you got to focus because there's so many times people tell me, oh, you should become this, you should do that. And I'm like, actually, no, I'm going to stick to this. I'm going to stick to this lane and I'm going to focus in on moms and we're going to do this event. And so that's what keeps me going. And it's scary. Like maybe know this, and sometimes it can be exhausting, but if you follow those kind of 5 things, I feel like that helps me. So.
Great. Those are really excellent, and some things that I need to be implementing more. Where can our readers learn more about you?
They can go to the iamomsummit.com, but mainly I think on our Instagram page is kind of where we do our updates.
Okay.
But I should get you that. It's I_am_mom_summit on Instagram. So.
Okay. Do you have some favorite items that you can't do without, or that you use and love?
You know what's interesting? I think they all come from my speakers. I realized I'm like, I think I must love a product and reach out to my speaker but I do have a few things. This one is more like flavorous. Yeah. This one is my lip mask. I can send you the name of it, but I put it on every night. It's just like, I had a friend give it to me for Christmas one year, and it's just something I put on every night before I go to bed. It's kind of my routine, and I feel like my lips are awesome because of it. Like, they're not awesome. I shouldn't say awesome. They're just not dry. But that is my go-to thing. And then I brought this to, I don't know, do you know Rachel 3 and 30?
Yes.
She gifted me this. Actually, she created this from the summit, her session from the summit. She talked about this, but I try to write in this every day, a magical moment of motherhood. And it has been a game changer for me. So, and I am not affiliate of hers or anything. That is something of mine. So Flex of Gold, cleaning wise, magic eraser. I use it daily on all surfaces with my children. More than I'd like to probably, but it's magic. So I can't live without that. And what was my other thing that I had thought of? Oh, music. Music is what inspires me. Like when I'm down and feel like I know, overwhelmed with the summer, like I have so much to do. I like to put on music, and I'm a dancer, so I like to dance in my kitchen. And my kids, if they come in and they see me dancing, they're like, "Mom's stressed. Let's join her in this dance." So that's so I think my Alexa, like my Amazon Alexa, is constantly. I should be careful if I say that; she will hear me. But I'm constantly like, play this song. What does this artist have out? I'm constantly all day long asking, and I just think music helps me. It's a stress reliever for me. So.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Is there any parting words of wisdom or anything you'd like to say in closing?
No, I should get it from you. Goodness gracious, you're more wisdom on parenting than I do. So I love what I know. What are you guys doing? What's your guys' next step? I know we only have like a minute, 30 seconds left, but that's not a lot of time for you to wrap it up. But
well, we're thinking about doing a podcast.
Awesome.
With this kind of thing as a podcast. So that's the goal for next year, I'm hoping. So we just got to figure out how to make the leap for that.
I know. And that is a lot of tech stuff. So you're like, who do I talk to? Yeah. So find your people, figure out who you,
Yes.
I mean, I'm assuming you guys have a team. Is it just you who runs the website, or who is it?
My husband and I, and then we have a team of writers. I'm a professional editor, so I do the editing. My husband does a lot of the technical stuff. So looks like we have less than 1 minute. So thank you so much. If you can send me some photos time, that would be fabulous.
I'll do that right now.
I really appreciate your time, and I'm excited to watch what you continue to do.
Thank you. And let me know when it's out, and we can share it on our summit.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Sure. Hey, thank you so much.
Hey, so nice to meet you.
Yes, you too. Happy holidays.
You too. Merry Christmas. I know. Yay, it's almost here. Well, stress and happiness, right? The same
thing. Yes. And good memories.
Yes. All those things all together.
Yes. So, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Inspiring Moms. If you or someone you know is interested in being featured as an inspiring mom, please contact us at inspiringmoms
at mommyhighfive.com.